Hello, welcome home. I feel like, God, I've been like randomly making videos for so long and I still have the worst intro and it's fine. It's cool, it's whatever. I'm just gonna say welcome home because the mouse rules me and it's fine. Today I wanted to tell you about how last year I produced my own play. Now, when I was going through this, I had like no idea what I was doing, and I was also very much against actually going to anyone for help. It's fine. You know, it's not like I'm in a university with people who could help me, but you know, I was like, no, I'm gonna figure this out on my own and it's fine. And I would try to find like YouTube videos or WikiHows and all of this stuff to get advice, and there wasn't a video about it, and it's fine. So, you know, I'm just gonna tell you what I did. So for years, I mean not that long, but you know, maybe a year and a half, 2 years, me and a friend had talked for a long time consistently, just growing more and more and more in eagerness to do this, that we wanted to start producing our own work here in town because we felt that there wasn't the most opportunity for us in our department that we are in currently, and so we wanted to create our own theatrical opportunities. And we talked about it and talked about it and talked about it, and then I actually went off to Florida to Disney, and while we were there, the idea just kind of took off, and I was like, you know, let's really do this. Let's do this in the fall. And jump in, and it's fine. And so we were planning this from March sooner in actuality of what our plan was going to be and our timeline and how we were going to do this. And it was really great. I was putting aside money to invest. I mean, I was really like doing the research. I was making lists, I was making spreadsheets, putting aside money, creating a step-by-step guide for myself on really how to go forward with this in a more professional sense, even though it obviously was not professional at all. I just didn't want to try to put something together and it be zero budget. We had a little bit of a budget, but zero budget, and kind of turned out to be a dumpster fire, which it didn't, you know, mostly. So anyway, so we talked about this for a long time, and then I came back home in May, and over the summer we really sat down and started just together, me and my friend together, figuring out what the plan was for the fall and when were we going to try to do our first show and all of this stuff. And so we had decided on a Halloween season show, and we didn't want to pay for any rights or anything, and so, you know, I actually took that as an opportunity to produce my own work, my own original work, which I, looking back, am so glad that I did that, because that was incredible. But did my own work, and we, you know, were doing all of this stuff, and it was fantastic. We get into fall, into the start of the semester. There's students are coming back, and so it was then that it was like, okay, well, we are going to start casting people. I didn't have the script finalized, but I did know how many people I would need, and had most of the script ready, enough to do auditions and know what we were going into. And so we just kind of posted an audition notice. We printed one out, designed a really ugly one. Like, I'm not a graphic designer in any way, and of course I'm sitting there, I'm graphic designing like all of our social media posts and our posters and everything. And so I created this just terrible audition notice, and we like printed them out and posted them around campus and around town, and we're doing like sharing it on social media and all this stuff. And we had it like in the park, because one of our local parks has this like amphitheater style like stage. It's not really a stage, it's like literally just a like cement circle in the grass. It's really weird. But you don't have to rent that space because it's a public park. And so we were just like, okay, everybody, you know, come on, refocus please. But we were like, everybody, you know, come and audition for this show. It's an original work and everything. And then I needed 8 people for this show. And one person showed up to the audition, and we were like, oh my gosh, how are we going to do this? Like, this is not going to happen. What are we gonna do? And so we last minute like sent out another audition notice for a second date like 2 days later or something, and we had like 2 people show. I think it was just one for that one as well. We had like one more person show up, and it was like crazy. Like, it was devastating. We were, you know, you can't put on a show if you don't have people, and I didn't want to be in the work because I was writing the work, and my friend was directing it, and we didn't want to be in a show that we were on that side of it for, and it was crazy. But we were like, oh my gosh, like, what are we going to do? Like, this is totally like a disaster. And so we started personally going to people, being like, hey, what are you doing? Do you want to be in this show? And we just like recruited people. Totally just drug people into the show, like people who I didn't know, or like were friends of friends, and all of this stuff. And we were only able to get 6 people, I believe, and we were like, okay, this is gonna happen. We're gonna double cast some of these ensemble roles. Like, it's fine, we can do this. And then throughout, we I want to say we had a rehearsal period of about, it was long. It was like 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, somewhere in there. And we would do 2 nights a week. And it was only like a 30-minute one-act show. Like, it wasn't anything crazy, but like, we were doing it for so long, and it was so crazy. But no, like, throughout the process, we had several people drop from the show, and then we had to bring in more people and then move people around. I was in the show and then out of the show like 3 times, of me having to step in and be like, oh, well, I guess I'm gonna have to do this character or this ensemble member or whatever. And then we would find someone, and this happened like 3 times. And it was insane. And we were like, oh my gosh, and then we ended up having a cast of 6. Who were all very wonderful and really just gave it, like, jumped in for this, and it was awesome. But no, so then we at this point now we have a script, we have a cast roughly, and we're like, okay, well, we need to have a space to perform this. So we looked at all of these different places to like rent, like community centers and stuff like that. And I mean, everything was either the space did not work or was so expensive. And so we were like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? And there is this place that my friend worked at had a stage that, I mean, and it's like a bar restaurant locally that has like, you know, like concerts, not like big concerts, but you know, like live bands, and they do like big social events there where DJs will be up there, you know, that kind of like smaller stage. And so he went to the owner of the restaurant and was like, hey, like, we want to put on a show on a night, you know, around Halloween that you don't have anything booked. And they were booked full, of course, but actually what he ended up doing with us, because he supports the arts and was just kind of interested in seeing, you know, what we could do. You know, he was like, hey, our restaurant, wow, my voice just gave out and it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, so he was like, our restaurant closes at 2 on Sundays, and bars can't operate on Sundays unless it falls under like certain clauses. It's really weird. So like they closed at 2 on Sundays, and he was like, I can get you in Sunday night and I won't charge you out up front for it. What we'll do is I'll open the bar and we will split the like tickets, and they would get the bar fee, you know, the bar profits, you know, basically to cover just to cover like the guys that he would have on during those hours, you know, cover their hourly wage so that he's not losing money on this or anything, which was an incredible deal and was super amazing of him. And if you're looking to do something like this, I highly recommend just contacting spaces that have days like that, and just being like, hey, like, would you be willing to do this, and just splitting the tickets or, you know, whatever like that. And so we were able to strike a deal where we didn't have to pay anything out front, and we just split the profits of the evening, which was awesome because I designed the poster and he hung up the poster in the restaurant with all of the other like bands and everything, and had it like around town, and had a social event, like a Facebook, like a social media and like Facebook event and everything. And he was selling tickets through their ticketing process that they do, so it wasn't, the tickets weren't even through us, which was such a just incredible, because that would have been, I think that would have killed me. I was wearing a lot of hats, and yeah, and so we got to it, you know, I was just telling everyone like crazy, like, hey, come see this show, like I just wrote this show, this is really cool, you know. I had a lot of family drive up and see it because it was like my first show that I've written and all of this stuff, and you know, most everybody that came was, you know, family and friends, and we had a couple of like people that we didn't know show up, which was really cool and not terribly expected. But yeah, no, like it was really incredible, and we had a successful night and a lot of positive feedback, and yeah, it was incredible. Unfortunately, I then had a falling out with that friend actually during this whole process, over an unrelated issue, and we didn't continue this sort of project on, and I stepped into other things past that, and I really loved the experience. But alright, so here's the deal. If you are wanting to produce your own work or something, here are my tips. Number one, if you're doing your own work, that's incredible, and have people that you trust read it and really have a strong piece of work for people to enjoy. ask your friends if you can hold auditions if you're in a place where you think you'll have auditionees, but we didn't have like but two. So approach people to be in the project, or approach people to approach people, spread the word. You know, word of mouth is so important with stuff like this, and just bring in people who want to do this, even though they may, you know, because I think a lot of our problem is that we were too low for our theater department, but the notices were like too official for a lot of the people who ended up in the play because they weren't theater people or anything like that. So approach people, be like, hey, like, do you want to do this thing? Like, this is just a really fun like project that we're doing, you know, come do this, you know. So approach people, and it's the same thing for finding venues. You know, find free venues, or if you're in a university, see if, you know, there's a classroom that you can use or any of that. Unfortunately, the classroom was all booked for rehearsals for us, but that's fine. You know, and then if you're having to go off campus or do anything like that, you know, approach people that way. You know, email people, contact people, walk up and be like, hey, is your owner a manager, and like, can I talk to them? And you know, because nothing is going to happen other than no or yes, and either way you may create, you know, a relationship anyway. You know, be like, maybe a local business doesn't or can't offer you a performance space, but you could be like, hey, you know, once I get a space, would it be possible to drop by a poster? And you know, stuff like that. Like, local businesses love that kind of stuff, so really like dig into that and have fun. Just have fun with it and do it. Just focus. Just really, like, if you're gonna do it and dedicate yourself to doing the project, because I had so much fun and it is something that I'm so proud of. And as I'm like applying to grad schools and everything, like, I can say on my resume, like, I produced my own play. Like, my play was produced, which is incredible. Like, they don't have to immediately know that it was self-produced, but it was produced, it was performed, and you know, you had friends who loved it. And I mean, my show's even available on YouTube to view for my family and friends who weren't able to come, and you know, so that my actors could have that, you know, forever, and I have that forever, and all of that, you know, because it was my work, and so I just filmed it for myself, you know. It's not like I had to pay for the rights. So yeah, I don't know if this will be helpful to anyone, but I know I would have liked to have heard this when I was doing this last year. Anyway, that's how I produced my own play. Take it or leave it. It was a lot of fun, and I hope that this helped you if you're looking for this kind of help. So if you have any questions, drop a comment. Like, I'm always here, always quick to respond if, you know, you need anything. Sounds so personal. This is a personal medium, isn't it? But yeah, if you have any questions about what I did or how I did it or anything, just drop a comment, like, subscribe, do all of that stuff, that YouTube stuff, and it's fine. And we'll just see each other next time.